Hi, I'm Anita Burns. Welcome to An Open Mind, a show about walking the pathways of life. My guest today is Debra Skinner, and Debra does the most unusual jewelry. It's not just jewelry to wear, although it is absolutely beautiful. It's jewelry with a significance, and we'll let her tell you a little bit more about that. Hi, Debra. Welcome.
Anita, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you for bringing some examples of your exquisite work. Now, these are all glass and silver, is that correct?
Sterling silver, and glass is one of the primary mediums, although I also collect pieces as I travel. And so some of the medium has actually come back with me from Africa and begins the creation of very unique, one-of-a-kind pieces.
So how do you come up with your inspiration for a piece? For instance, this one is so exquisitely beautiful with that cobalt blue. It just shines right into the light.
The inspiration really comes from spirit, to be honest. I call it inspired design. Because that's kind of where it started for me. In my desire to want to enhance my connection to spirit, I have attended many workshops, many of which have been yours. And one particular time there was a workshop that included an art project as a requirement, which was a big surprise to me because I didn't consider myself to be artistic at all. I've always said my stick figures are out of proportion. So I was quite intimidated, but challenged. And I had been, just the night before the class started, I had been browsing an art gallery and saw some exquisite glass and was really inspired by the glass. I just immediately felt connected to how beautiful the glass was, and it seemed like there was more than just glass there to be seen. So as I was assigned this art project to do whatever I wanted, the idea of creating just a simple little bracelet was really what came to me. And the other piece that is significant for me in this is that the night before I left to go to the workshop, I was pulling some cards to get a reading from Spirit.
Tarot cards?
They were oracle cards.
Oracle cards, okay.
And in this case, I pulled one that talked about my joy guides and always having to remind myself to relax and enjoy the day and not get so wrapped up in all the things that we get ourselves wrapped up in.
Oh yeah, that's the trick, isn't it?
Isn't it? Isn't it? So I pulled a card about my joy guides and another about playing. And in that moment, I knew that that little workshop was all about taking time away from the crazy day-to-day and playing a little and bringing my joy guides along. So from that, I said, okay, joy guides, it's time to play, and we have to create something because I've been assigned this art project. And little by little, I just allowed Spirit to infuse me with some creativity that I never thought I had before, and out of that came bracelets.
So when you're starting a project, let me pick this one up here, for example, because it's very colorful, all sorts of different colors of the rainbow, and it almost looks like the sea to me with these colors. Do you how do you go about it? Do you, for example, do you have a color scheme in mind, or do you just start with one and then that one calls for another one, or do you have a plan? Or
it's I can't say that I have a plan, that's for sure, because I think this is coming from a place that's much greater than just me. So oftentimes I will see a piece of glass. I love the beautiful glass beads, and one or a few of them will speak to me and basically tell me that they want to be born. Something wants to be born from it, which is a very interesting change for me in the way that I look at something, to allow something to be born out of me that is, as I say, quite beyond me.
It's quite an experience. It'd be almost like a trance-inducing experience, I would guess. Yeah. Now I know that these are bracelets that you have made.
Yes.
From your inspiration, but you also make bracelets customized, right?
I do. I do. Sometimes people will see a particular bracelet and the colors will call to them for reasons that they probably don't even realize themselves. And with that same concept that I mentioned earlier, that I was inspired to encourage my joy guides to come with me on that little journey, I will, at the most simplistic level, ask someone what brings them joy in their lives. Because what brings you joy for one person is very different than for another. And
that's very true.
So from the idea of what brings you joy in your life, I can help them find little reminders of that, because in the end, although I have pulled the resources of many places and ideas, to me the end result should be something that speaks to the end recipient and is something that they can wear to remind them of what brings them joy in their life and remind them of the connection to spirit that we all have. So, sometimes it's a word, sometimes it's a symbol. The one that you were holding a moment ago with the beautiful sea colors would, look very nice to have maybe a dolphin added to it, which is something that I've considered.
So little silver charm dolphins?
Little charms and things are something that I can add to it to sort of personalize it. And whether that's as simple as your birthstone or little silver charms that remind you of the things that bring you joy, that's one level of customization.
Well, I'd be in trouble because I look at these and they all bring me joy.
Thank you. They do for me as well.
Exquisite. Now, some of this glass you mentioned before is a special glass that you get from an artist.
There is an artist in New England that I thoroughly enjoy his work, and much of the glass that I use in my creations have come from his creations. But the other thing that has been nice is to not just limit myself to his glass, but then also to find some of the treasures. I had a fabulous opportunity last year to spend some time in Africa, South Africa in particular, and they also do some beautiful things there. So there's kind of a melding of the things that call to each other. And
do you have an example of the African glass in here anywhere?
There are a couple. This would be one of them.
Oh, that is so gorgeous.
These are African beads, and they've been sort of married with a little bit of the frosted glass here.
So you've got the little square ones.
Yes, those are African. This is the ivory, the little
so beautiful
pieces there.
I love the color. I love the way you put the colors together. That just sort of, it's almost like, I cook, and it's almost like taking various ingredients and putting them together and just creating something yummy. Yes. As Rachel Ray would say, yummo.
A little pinch of this, a little pinch of that,
and you have a masterpiece.
And I have fun creating maybe a little signature piece. I call it a dangle, for lack of a better way to put it. All of these will be created by hand, the little dangles. So in taking the the little square wooden pieces, and creating a dangle out of those is part of how the creative process flows for me. And oftentimes, I brought these as an example, I'll find a couple of pieces that I think look nice together, and so I will use a little glass jar to see if they like each other.
Oh, what a great idea.
And I can literally kind of roll it around and see how the colors work together.
It's almost a kaleidoscope. That's the word I've been trying to reach. It's your bracelets are almost like the kaleidoscope experience. Do you remember when you had, as a child, you'd look through those?
I'd never thought of it that
way,
but
they're
I think you're right.
so exquisitely transfixing, I guess. Yeah, it's like that. Oh,
And that's sort of,
beautiful.
you know, when I see
Yeah.
things that I think like each other, then I'll roll them around a bit and see if that's sufficient, and then I begin sort of the
Then just
creative
begin
process.
creating them.
Mm-hmm.
And here's one that's got a little silver heart on the end. That's beautiful. Now, also, I'm remembering that a part of the proceeds you get from this go to charity.
I was very moved by the work that I was able to enjoy when I was in South Africa. Some friends of mine have started a wonderful little ministry over there. Their goal is to feed 5,000 children. And when they feed the children, it is very often the only meal they're going to get that day. So it is, it's a need at a very, very basic level, and I was privileged to have the opportunity to be over there for a while and to actually feed those children, and they stay in your heart. There's no doubt about it. And I came back wishing that I could have spent more time there, wishing I could do more, and realizing that even in our busy lives, day to day here in this country where we are so blessed, that there is something that we can do. And so I came up with the idea of trying to position each one of these pieces to feed a child for a year.
What a wonderful thought.
So with the sale of a particular piece, I have a piece in that that allows me to help feed those children. And not only does it warm my heart to know that I'm continuing to do what I can, but it also means that then the end recipient would be able to look down at that bracelet and know that they are feeding a child for a year, miles and miles away. Because I think we all desire to want to do something to help, and we don't always know exactly what that something could be in the midst of our busy lives.
That's a wonderful, wonderful way to do it, too, bringing joy in so many different ways. I noticed this one has all, like, frosted glass.
Frosted glass, yes, just another, unique piece. And so I don't stay with this exact same formula, so to speak, because I think that's part of the uniqueness.
This one to me is happy.
Yes.
It's like frolicking in a field of daisies.
Exactly.
Which I did as a child in Spokane, Washington. We had a big field behind our house, and every spring the daisies would come up and I would run through them, and that just sort of reminds me of my childhood, the good parts. There were some that I don't want to be reminded of.
But that's sort of the concept, because I think when we were younger, there were many times that we knew how to run and play. We knew what brought us joy, and many of us in our busy lives have kind of forgotten that piece of life. So
I think so.
To me, this is an outward reminder of the love and spirit and joy that is within each of us every day.
And the love that you put into this, definitely, I mean, as a metaphysician, I would say the energy, the love energy that you put in with this definitely comes through. When I hold one up, there's one I haven't touched yet. When I hold one, I can feel that it is more than just glass on silver, that it isn't something that was just manufactured to sell, but it has heart, it has soul, it has spirit. And that the wearer will also be able to imbue her, I'm assuming her, although men could probably wear them too, with whatever they add to it. That would, at least that's my never to be humble opinion.
Well, I've been blessed to have learned Reiki and Rehutek and to carry those energies with me every day. So those energies are through me, in me, and coming straight through to the jewelry as I am creating each one of them. And I do take a moment as I'm finishing each one to be grateful for the opportunity to have that inspired design coming through me, and also to add to it that healing energy that would then go out into the world and the wearer as a sign of God's love.
Right. How wonderful. I have to pick this one up too. I have to pick them all up. This one to me goes, good luck. This was fortune, good luck. And I know that our director said, don't mess with this, don't mess with the display, but I'm doing it anyway.
Well, the top tier of what I do in terms of design is not only to create and then personalize a little bit, but I actually have appointments with people where before we even begin the design process, we sit down and do a little reading and a little conversation to come up with the concept that is, shall we call it, commissioned, and then it is custom from the minute it's born.
That makes sense. This one says love and romance to me. So, let's say you couldn't sit down with someone, let's say someone from a country, we're in California, United States.
Exactly.
If someone from Germany, for example, got in touch with you and said, you know, they really wanted a bracelet, how would you go about the
in the same manner in which you do readings over the phone.
So it'd be on the phone?
It would. It can be done that way as well. Spirit knows no limits and no boundaries, and I would simply have a reading and a conversation with someone and then connect with Spirit for that inspired design and create from there.
Now, I know that this is a new venture for you, and you
It
don't
is.
have your website up yet.
Working on it.
But you're working on it,
Yes.
and you will have one up soon. And if by the time this goes live, you have your website, please let me know, and we'll put it out there for the people. But until then, if someone was wanting to reach you or contact you to get more information, how would they do that? And it's up to you whether you want to give your phone number or not, knowing that you'll get all kinds of calls.
Well, I think I think the email, that way we don't have to worry about time zones, so that's
Okay.
probably the easiest.
And
I've had requests for earrings and necklaces to match.
that was
so
going to
we
be my
are-
next question. Earrings, you know, toe rings, ankle bracelets,
All of that, yes.
tiaras.
Yes, yes. I do have some earrings at this time. I didn't bring them out for display at this point, and it's all about what people feel will bring them joy, and we can create together.
And I certainly wish you well in this, and I know you're already successful, just word of mouth. But I think you will be reaching a wider audience. I predict.
And I appreciate that.
Because this is such a worthwhile venture, and it is so incredibly beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
And I hope
Thank you
you
for
come back
having me.
again.
Absolutely.
Thanks. Thank you for watching. Please remember to subscribe to our show so you don't miss a minute of our guests' wonderful, wonderful, and entertaining adventure. Thank you.